Javonte Williams is out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL, LCL, and more. Some crappy news to give you guys today following the Broncos' loss to the Raiders, in which we all feared it would be hopefully not as bad, or feared the worst for Javonte, and hoping for it wouldn't be this, but indeed it is a torn ACL. Matthew Peterson from the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports here, trying to raise morale a little bit as it feels like the sky is falling in Denver, right? Another injury to a key player, and you really couldn't afford it to happen at the running back position, where Melvin Gordon has just been an absolute disaster with the fumbles. And the last thing you wanted to see was more carries for 25, right? We were all on the same page. Give Javonte the football more. Now Hackett is going to have to make a tough decision what to do. But let's break down this injury and give you guys an idea of what is to come for Javonte Williams. So Tom Pelissero, the first one to tweet out the news about the ACL, and unfortunately, it only gets worse, right? Ian Rappaport following that up with this. Running back Javonte Williams has a torn ACL, but the MRI revealed a torn LCL and posterior lateral corner. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. Sources say a significant injury and a long road back. Now, we are going to look at another running back in the NFL who is coming off a similar-ish injury and maybe try to compare the two and give you a time frame of when we could see Williams return to Mile High. But let's show the guy some love from Broncos country, right? He is facing a long recovery. I don't want to compare it to KJ Hamler's because he had an ACL and a hip injury, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say what's worse, but it's not going to be a simple see you in 7 months and Adrian Peterson-esque recovery for him. Type 33 guys down below so Javonte can feel the love coming from all Broncos fans watching. So a running back that maybe you can compare this to a little bit is J.K. Dobbins, because Dobbins, like Williams, did not just suffer a run-of-the-mill ACL. He, too, suffered a torn LCL and had some other injuries, including a hamstring. But Dobbins took 13 months to get back onto the field. If it's 13 months for Javonte Williams, that means we're going to see him next November. This feels like a 2-year injury. And what really makes it worse is the whole point about drafting a running back early, like Williams was, is you want to maximize their rookie contract, because when you give a running back a second contract, it feels like it's going to haunt you in a couple of seasons. Ask the Cowboys about Zeke. So Williams now lost for pretty much most of the 2022 season. I'm going to go out and say a good chunk of the 2023 season, and then you'll get him back for the final year of his rookie deal in 2024. A big-time bummer, right? A huge amount of expectations were laid out for Javonte Williams entering this season. 47 carries, only 204 yards in 4 games. He was handcuffed by Melvin Gordon, and those cuffs were supposed to come off after Gordon coughed up the football for his 4th fumble this season. Javonte last season, one of the better running backs just from a rookie standpoint as well. 203 carries, nearly 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. He was great in the air as well. And now Williams joins a long list of notable injuries. Tim Patrick also lost with an ACL injury before the season. Greg Dulcich, who remembers him, right? There's been so many injuries, we have forgotten that the Broncos' second, pick in the 2022 draft has not played yet. He has been nursing a hamstring injury. He was put on IR before the season started. So 4 games are up now. We might see Dulcich somewhat soon. Billy Turner, I'm kind of giving up on that. Tom Compton, he's been on the PUP list. He's going to miss some more time. Randy Gregory, amid all the Javonte Williams chaos, he also suffered a knee injury. Don't have much more of an update on that at the moment, but stay tuned. Michael Ojemudia, like Dulcich, put on IR before the year. We could see him as soon as this Thursday. And then Justin Simmons, he is going to be eligible to return after this Thursday, week 6. That's when 4 games are up. So it's been a long list of injuries. I actually looked it up in case you're wondering. The Broncos, believe it or not, don't have the most players on IR this year. But a lot of teams have like 12 players on IR, and 6 of them are from training camp, and it's IR stashes. It's rookies, 7th round UDFA picks who they just want to keep on their roster. But in terms of actual meaningful players on IR, right, players you're paying top dollar to, the Broncos are right near the top. Williams, Justin Simmons, it's a bummer. It just sucks. It blows. You can put in your own Mad Lib adjective right there. It's just not what you want to see. Now, whenever breaking news happens, good or bad, we keep you posted here at the channel, which is why you got to subscribe. Join nearly 10,000 strong. We have been one of the fastest growing Broncos YouTube channels out there. So if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. All right, switching gears now. We'll talk about Javonte Williams. I don't want to say replacements, but like what's to come, right? Who's going to fill this role as RB1 in a minute? We'll fill that. We'll talk about that more in detail in tomorrow's video. But at least for today, we'll talk about Melvin Gordon, right? What can he do, as he is probably going to be RB1 now, and there is not a lot of enthusiasm coming from this side of the camera. But first, BetUS, our proud sportsbook partner, is back for another season, and they are back to giving you guys, Broncos country, the best deposit bonus you will find from any sportsbook out there. When you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Broncos125, they'll give you a 125% deposit bonus. You're not going to find a deal like that from any other sports book. So make sure you are making all your picks on Sunday with BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Got to use that link and the promo code to redeem that deposit bonus. Looking at the depth chart now, Williams with, going to IR and out for the season. That leaves Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone. Now, Gordon was benched yesterday until he had to play because Williams got hurt. Mike Boone, I think, is a serviceable RB3, but he is, make no mistake, an RB3. That drop he had at the end of the game to try and keep the game alive on 4th down, that was a big-time bummer. But Gordon, what do? I don't have the answer for you. I think you have to stick with him. Had Javonte Williams not gotten injured, I think Melvin Gordon would have been released today. But that's a pretty ballsy move for Hackett to make, to willingly lose his RB2 after losing his RB1 unwillingly. And then you're left with Mike Boone on a short week as the Colts come into town. Now, Jonathan Taylor, he got nicked up in their loss on Sunday, so his status for this Thursday night matchup is TBD. But I think you have to stick with Melvin Gordon for this week, right? If he fumbles again to make it 5 straight in 5 games, then you move on, right? You have a full week ahead of you. You got 10 days ahead of you. You go out in free agency. You bring someone in for cheap, veteran minimum contract, and you roll with them, Mike Boone, and you let Russ cook and you see what happens. I don't think Peyton can really make a trade, but Melvin Gordon, 2.5 seasons now with the Broncos. 3.5. No, whatever the number is, 2.5. Nearly 2,000, over 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 11 fumbles. That is an atrocious touchdown to fumble ratio. 18 touchdowns for 11 fumbles. In fact, let me give you this stat too. His last 3 fumbles that have been lost, I think over the last 12 games, all returned for touchdowns, right? Maybe not. No, not the one against the Seahawks. But regardless, the point stands true. Whenever he fumbles, it feels like it's going back for 6. The Eagles game last year when Teddy Bridgewater didn't want to make a tackle. This game against the Raiders, shout out to Garrett Bowles. He gave his all on that belly flop attempt of making a tackle. But it is just, it's tough. It's tough right now. I don't have a good solution. I think you stick with Gordon, but I'm not confident. Let me know if you are. Y for yes, N for no. It is bleak on this side of the camera right now because this team could not afford to lose Javonte Williams right off the heels of Melvin Gordon putting the nail in the coffin for his time in Denver. But all of a sudden, he goes full-on WWE mode where he just rises up and he goes, I ain't fucking leaving because you got no choice. What are you going to do? Go with Mike Boone on a short week? Probably not. All right, that's it for today's show. We're gonna bounce back, right? The season's not over. 2-2. A lot of football left. The offense looked good in the first half yesterday. So hopefully they can play 4 quarters against this Colts team that is not going to have Darius Leonard. I can't do that. Probably with a concussion. So hopefully they can find a way to bounce back at home. I'm expecting to hear a lot of countdowns on the play clock from Broncos country at this one from Mile High. But make sure to subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow with some Javonte Williams replacements. And here's a spoiler. Number 1 is Melvin Gordon, and I'm going to throw up.